Okay, good morning, hello, or good afternoon if you're in the other side of the world. Morning, one so early. How you doing? Okay, we begin another week trying to figure this out. I made some progress last week, which was good. You okay, bud? Then I went backwards in that everything reset, and I am frustrated with stateful sets, and it's driving me crazy because I'm gonna have to learn more about them, why they won't persist, and yeah, I was having a heck of a time of it. So I have things starting up, but now when I go over here, this is going to complain that oh no, now it thinks that the configuration is missing. Now the SQL server's there. The SQL server wasn't there. So what I'm having to do is after several restarts of the process, I end up having to reboot the actual Kubernetes cluster, which seems wrong. So I think I'm missing something there, but it looks like right now I'm okay. So if I do kubectl port forward svc console service 8599 to 8500 and it's ls console, that'll give me the ability to log into the console. Right, that's here. Missing my configuration because somehow I can't make it keep the configuration for Kafka. Go here, go back over here, copy this, paste that in there, save that. Now that will work. That piece will work. Then if I go over here, copy this, go over here to pods, that'll restart eventually. Go to my broker, go to my terminal, paste these. This will create the, oh look, Kafka all came up as well. Yesterday Kafka wasn't starting, then the SQL server didn't work, and then I was like, I'm done. Walk away. Breathe. Okay, so this tenant management should now connect. There we go. Brokers are down. So, hello. You go lay down. Go lay down, Taylor. Go on. If you didn't keep opening the door, there won't be a cold draft. So, what I'm struggling with, and what I have been struggling with, is communications, right? So, figuring out how to get things to connect. So, for the Kafka piece, I need the network. I need the network. So I can't avoid having this be as part of a network, because otherwise Kafka, the broker and the zookeeper wouldn't communicate, right? So that was a must. The problem is that now and as we saw the other day, without any ingress set, it was not very permissive. So the network policies here, this Kafka network policy, I'm saying if it has allow Kafka in the pod, then that should work. I think I actually do have that on there, allow Kafka, but this isn't working. This is not permitting this pod to get through. So I'm misunderstanding how to configure, how the labels work, or I'm misunderstanding how network policies work, or both. That is definitely a possibility, both. So when I create the network, I have an ingress rule. Now, I tried to set an egress rule. So I allow egress to be passed in as well. But I couldn't figure out how that works. Um, I don't necessarily want to make them all part of the same network, but that's another option. Figure out how to change all this to pass down the network and everything becomes part of that. Like all the pods that are communicating with Kafka become part of that network. Or I set this network policy to be very permissive, but I don't know how to set this network policy to be very permissive. Well, actually, let's do this. So pod selector ingress policy types ingress egress. Apparently, that's a very permissive policy, right? So if we do this, we don't actually need that one now. cdd dev Pulumi liquid sky Pulumi up dash y. That should just change the Kafka piece. Oh, I need to recreate the SVC Kafka AKHQ service 8089 to 8080 N is Alice Kafka. That's the AKHQ, so I can see that it's created everything. Funny having not streamed since last Wednesday. It feels like such a long time ago. But this is getting ever more frustrating. So I was fighting the do I really want to stream? Could just sit and relax and not do anything. But no. Okay, so that changes that policy. So let's have a look at the policy now. The network policy looks like this, but it doesn't tell you that it's super permissive or not permissive or whatever. I suppose the test will be if we go here and see. Oh, hold on. That worked. That communicated. I just don't think that. I don't think that the topic was available. Hold on. Did I not start that up? I did not. Oh, that's a good sign. Like having a super open policy on the network doesn't seem like a very solid idea. But for right now, considering what we're dealing with, I will happily take it. See, now it says connection setup timeout, but it did try. What's interesting there is the fact that it actually did try to publish a message, which means that it's still got the messages there, which means yesterday when it said the database wasn't available, that was just the cluster being weird. Okay, so that wasn't working. Connection setup timed out in state connect. Well, it doesn't say the brokers aren't available. This just says it timed out. Whereas before it said the broker wasn't available. So our topics are here. Kafka, K8S. Now, I'm not trying to put security on here. Uh, what I have learned is port forwarding is not a useful measure of whether it's working or not, right? So testing this with port forwarding is not going to tell me that how to solve this problem because the port forwarding doesn't use the same things. It bypasses some of the stuff. So connection setup timed out in state after 30. So it's 30 seconds. One identical error suppressed. Connection setup timed out. Let's see. Let's see if yeah. Why do I receive odd? That bothers me. Advertise listeners plain text 9092. But if I go to the pods, go to broker deployment, advertise listener on plain text is Kafka broker service, which is wrong. Which is wrong. That should be I think it should be that one. 9092. So what I did there is in the broker here, the advertised listeners are set up like that. That's why it's getting Kafka broker service, right? What it's saying is that should be dot ls Kafka dot svc dot cluster dot local. I think that one should be. I think I tried this yesterday though. Pulling it up. That's why. I think things started unraveling when I did this yesterday. Okay, bud. Now does that. So now what's going to happen here? Yeah, this is what happened yesterday. Now this just sits and waits. This gets stuck. Now the broker deployment's bad. So let me um, take down a specific deployment. Pulumi. let's just. So the problem is I keep going forward and then wondering why things are broken. Okay, so I believe that one should be that, and that one should be that. That should be the advertised version. Let's see. Pulumi. Oh, that's why. So it's going to get stuck because this pod never processed. So once it gets stuck, I delete this instance and it should create it from the new deployment. Is the idea. So we update the deployment. There you go. Okay, so now we delete the pod, which should free up this. Oh, same output. So AKHQ is in the same network. So AKHQ can communicate via Kafka. It's in the same namespace. So AKHQ is doing fine. The problem is I need to advertise the listeners so that other things can communicate. However, this is not going to work, is it? Yeah, so external plain text. To external plain text. Kafka listeners is no longer required, so that's old. And ChatGPT is telling me to look up to set the plain text listeners to this, but if the Kafka broker advertises an address or hosting the pod cannot resolve, the connection will time out. Which is what I'm thinking is happening. However, can I do plain text host plain text? So that's plain text host maps to plain text. That's just the other way around. I don't think it is. Because my understanding is that this is the internal and that's the external. What I'm going to get here is an understanding of eventually, not right now. I'm not going to dig deeper, but as I get to understand more about how Kafka's configured here, how these things work, then I'm going to get more of an idea of, you know, which piece is exactly going wrong. See, that says nothing's changed now. But it has changed. Claude, start new chat. How do I make Kafka ties listeners work in Kubernetes? The consumers are not in the same namespace as the broker. Yeah, that's fine. You're telling me that. You keep telling me that. Bootstrap servers. That's what I'm doing. I'm using the fully qualified name. So if we go to tenant management here, you'll see I'm setting this to be the broker, and the broker is Kafka broker service ls kafka.service.cluster.local 9092. So we are using the fully qualified name. So I suppose the only difference is the network permission. But again, that's, well, namespace select ingress from. This allows access from all namespaces. One thing, problem is we're chasing problems, right? We're chasing change after change after change right now, which is not healthy. Namespace, network name, ingress from namespace selector. Basically, that's useless anyway. Network, that's useless. That's fine. Pod select policy types, ingress, egress from namespace selector. I don't need it. Let's remove egress right now. So I'm changing this, and I don't think this is it, but I want that to be super permissive. But right now, the networking security here isn't as big a concern as it would be if I was producing this. If this was going into production, then that would be a much bigger challenge because I'd have to think about these walls properly. But I have to do that right now. Delete that. Yes. Don't want to bring everything down again because I'm going to have to restart the cluster. Broker, plain text host. I think that is .ls Kafka dot. Oh, no, ls Kafka is the namespace, yeah. .svc dot cluster dot local. Let's see that. Pulumi up -y. Ending. I don't think that's right to do that. I think that is. I think internally I can communicate over 29092, externally 9092. Otherwise, KHQ, broker. That goes 29092. I believe. Deployments, pods. I think this communicates over 29092. Config maps. AKHQ. Will you use config map for that? Oh, no, feed it in as a configuration. No, no, workloads, pods, AKHQ, it's a configuration. Yeah, 29092. So Kafka broker service. That goes in on the plain text port, not the plain text host port. So the host is the one that's actually meant to contain the advertised address, which is what I thought. Goes Kafka broker service to svc dot local dot cluster is not right. That's ls Kafka, right? That's that. That address should match that. Cluster.local. I hope I wasn't doing that before. Pulumi up, that's why. It's a quiet day today. I know this isn't exactly what people are wanting to see, but Wow. Well, it's the holidays. Which will change things. No worries. This topic, by the way, is definitely turning people away. It's not doing well. However, I refuse to give up. So um for reference, if anyone wants to do this on streams, this is not a good choice to do on streams. No, I've got to do it. If I stop doing it, I'll not do it, and I need to do it. So it is what it is. Like everything else, this is a battle that I'll get over. Right? This little hump is. I will learn a little bit more. I will struggle a little bit more. I just don't understand why this is. If I bring it down, everything's going to go weird again. So I'm fighting that piece. Kafka broker service.kafka.service.local cluster. There's got to be a configuration weirdness there. Plain text host 9092. Plain text 909 29092. 992. Kafka Listen Security Protocol map. So this is plain text. This is so you can like get authentication working and still map it to the right endpoint. If I could see some errors, that'd be good, but I don't see any logs at all. Skip scheduling. Failed scheduling, successful create. Like, pending. Okay. kubectl get event nls Kafka. Ah, reports the requested pod alerts. Hey Mojo. Yeah, yeah. It's been suffering some bad headaches recently. Uh, 17. You kidding me? Last seen. Created container. Pod sandbox changed up, we killed and recreated. Okay, so let's do. Can I take down a namespace? How are you? Sorry. This is driving me crazy. So this works locally. Got a feeling I'll have to do Pulumi down and then change it. The 18K test. That represents a headache. uh, I wish this was the cause of my headache. That'd be good. That did create that. It just didn't work. Okay. We have no choice. Pulumi down. That's why. Bring it all down. So the problem I have with this is doing this seems to start messing around with things so that the SQL Server might not actually connect again. Console isn't actually retaining its storage even though it's set up for stateful set. So I'm mapping the wrong directory there or I'm doing something different. All sorts of challenges. So where I got to last week off stream, I got to the registering a tenant. It actually created a tenant. It created the data in the tenant, in the actual tenant management database, for the address, the user, everything like that. It sent to Auth0. It actually pushed the messages into the Kafka queue, into the outbox. So what I'm trying to get over is it actually pushing those messages out of Kafka into Kafka. If we can validate that, then things start to move forward. I had a port forward, so it was locked. Oh, tell me the port forward wasn't the cause of that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is before I even start it, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do .ls kafka .svc.cluster.local. So that's the actual FQDN, right, of that, which is fine. It should be fine. So we're going to bring it up like that. Pulling it up, that's why. Hopefully now, we're not going to end up with a SQL server that won't connect, a Kafka system that's not got its topics. The worst I hope for is the fact that I have to create the topics again. So what we do is kubectl port forward svc console service 8599 to 8500. N is ls console. Yeah. Right. Because then we go over here and we refresh that and that'll be gone. So we've got to create that. Copy that. For some reason the stateful set does not work here. Well, let's verify this piece works first. Tenant management is in error. Hopefully for the right reason. Yes. Yes, it's the configuration. Okay. So that should restart itself. This is in a crash loop back off. That's an interesting modification. No, you dingling. It's okay. It's okay. We can not have to restart the entire thing again. Okay, the tenant management has recovered. Tenant management is going to. Okay, that's fine. The broker isn't up yet. There you go. It's deploying. I don't think that will make a difference. Oh, our brokers came up. It looks like the broker's communicating. I'll have to wait 30 seconds for that to fail. No, still not working. Okay, let's just check to see. So it does look like messing around with the communications does. Oh, there you go. Oh, they're there. It's there. I mean, it created the topics for me, which is not ideal, but tenant user was registered with notification. There we go. Tenant was registered notification and test customer. Yep, no worries, Nojo. Thank you very much. It worked. By Jove, I think I've got it. So did this actually? Yeah, there you go. No, that's the broker deployment, not the tenant management. I want to see tenant management succeed. Oh, there you go. It did connect. Okay, so we can expect to see the timeout every now and then. Okay, that's fine. Oh, hey, it's that time of the year where windshields freeze. Get a bag of hot water. Get a freezer bag, ironically. Fill it with hot water from the tap and use that to defrost your window. Not boiling water. What's a damn sight better than just waiting for it to defrost? It was 21 degrees here this morning, so. Okay, so what we have running is we have a actually, let's do Chrome for fear of bringing everything else down. So we have Liquid Sky software. So we have a client. We can register a tenant. It won't crack. You're not shocking it. I said warm water. Well, hot water out of the tap is not boiling water. And it's in the plastic bag. I get it though. Rapid temperature change. No, it's the warmth, not the. You're not putting. I'm not saying throw hot water on the windscreen. Hot water on the tap. By the time you get to the car, will be warm water. I'm not saying pour it on the windscreen to shock it. I'm saying just put it in the bag and rub the bag over the windscreen of warm water, and it'll ease up the ice. Did Mythbusters ever do that? Did they ever do the shock windscreen? Let's have a look. Screen. Fact check. Yeah, rapid temperature change. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. You don't want to shock the glass. So anyway, back to this and away from TikTok hacks. We have a client running. We can register a tenant. The database will store that. So let's do a port forward for that. So we can validate that. Now there's pieces missing here. TTL port forward. SVC ls SQL service 8 1439 1433. This is because I don't want to conflict because I have ports running on Docker for the actual databases and ls storage. That should allow me to see this one. So we should be able to go here now and see these, and these should have date sent. Yep, date process. So we have our events, tenant integration, user integration, tenant user integration. There's our notification outbox of the events happening. Manufacturer should heat the windshield wiper fluid before it comes out. I mean, it seems to me like there's probably a way of warming the windshield without actually turning the engine on. Because what I understand, running the engine for several minutes actually makes it worse because your car's sitting while running, which means all the fluids are sitting and not moving, but are all now warmed. So I've seen videos about that as well. Okay, so we have an address, we have all the data, everything's working. So that was the answer. I was just missing the configuration. So for summary, what I need to do is when I set up the host, I need to put the full address on it. I also need the network to be very permissive, which is going to be something I'm going to have to cycle back around on because I created this network thing as a general way of communicating between Kafka because it needed to be the network for Kafka to communicate with itself. But that seems weird now. But basically, I've said, hey, everything got ingress. So anything can come into Kafka. What I'll probably find is when I go to query these, when I get a receiver configured, that's going to break. Okay, before we scare it, let's commit it. Git status, git add, git commit. Actually, what's the difference there? Git diff. Yeah. 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 Okay. Git add, git commit, allow, um, auth 0, management configuration in Pulumi secrets. For the funny thing here is about tenant management. This particular piece is pretty much on the chopping block early on to move to control tower, so we can get rid of the tenant management aspect of Liquid Sky. We'll have to figure that out in terms of structure. Kafka network need to be very permissive. What does so again, because this is a prototype deployment, essentially, this is a deployment that is going to be used for some testing, then wiped out, and then used for dog fooding the application. So Mojo and I can log in and actually use the application to plan the application. Because of that need, I don't want to spend great deals of time trying to learn how to drill down and figure out all the different quirks of configuring the networks and the securities there. Yes, I get that that's an important piece. However, my primary reason for doing this is so that when this becomes an application stack, I understand enough about the deployment pieces of it to understand, oh, we can put this piece here, we can put that piece there. And someone who does know more about DevOps would be able to take on this, and I could actually at least understand what's happening with the application's deployment. What are the difficulties? What challenges have I created by that? I'm not trying to get the perfect deployment because this is not going to be a production deployment. If I was going to do that, this has to be more rigid. And that's one of the risks you have. Um, um, when you're learning something and you're trying to introduce it into your job, right? Because I've done it before. It's really tempting to say, "Oh, look at this cool technology! Look, it solves these problems," and you pick it up, and you're like, "Okay, well now here's here's this technology. Let's use it in production." And well, now it's you've got all the challenges that come with it. So you've got to learn all those lessons in production. I'm just doing them in private, right? Um, Host, um, um, advertised listeners, need FQDN 19092 port. Git push. I have actually made this a repo, a private repo. So there is a remote now, so I haven't lost everything. I'm actually surprised Pulumi doesn't host the a Git for that. So what comes next? We need to figure out how to do the verified user. It didn't create user invitation. What creates the user invitation? Let me just check. Login. If you are new to the stream, welcome in. You are more than welcome to ask any questions. If you have any thoughts or opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to share. I'm not doing this just to share, just to waffle on. Okay, so that didn't create the user in Auth0, which means it didn't create the actual thing. Interesting. Actually, no, it might have created the user in Auth0. What username did I do? What name did I pick? Users, test customer, test. Yeah, it did. It did create the user. So it created the user, but didn't create the invitation. So where's the... So we've got to refresh ourselves on how that workflow works. So registering your organization, we have a workflow that starts with registering the tenant, creating the user, associating the user with a tenant. That all happened, right? So tenant users. Yeah, those are users. Then register user with provider. That happens. The invitation's not used anymore. Tenant user was registered. Tenant was registered. Tenant user was registered. User created. User created notification. Invitation was created. When do I create the invitation? Ah, invite the user. So that's an actual user invite. Oh, then that means this has potential. Oh. Nope. Let me go check that. My boss just texted me for IT help saying, can you clarify something for me before I reinstall Windows? And I'm sitting here thinking that if I say no, then I have 2 hours of quiet time. That sounds good. HTTPS Liquid Sky software. Configure default login routes. Switch tenant. That's fine. Allowed callback URLs. Allowed logout URLs. Why is this not working now? Oh, why is that going to authorize? Machine to machine. Oh, that doesn't need to be that, does it? Applications, APIs. That's fine. Is it something to do with a client? No, because this doesn't do anything. This doesn't set anything up really. App config domain audience redirect URI. API URL audience. That's fine. But it's not even authorizing. It's not even getting to that point. Auth 0 redirecting to HTTPS authorize. Right, but that's not. Sorry if I'm keeping this off screen, but the challenge is I don't want to be. So application. Liquid Sky, allow logout URLs. I think it trims, but let's make sure. It's not giving me. It's not giving me an invalid. It's not giving me an invalid. HTTPS. Liquid Sky software. I think it's that. It's trying to go to that. And I think it needs to want. I think it wants to go to liquid sky software. Nope. Oh, do I have to set up another route? Everything's committed, right? Yep. I wonder if I have to set up another route like that and do authorize, and that needs to go to this. That one goes to the client service, then API, then GraphQL, then everything else to the client. So that should be the gateway. There we go. Okay. Updating. I wonder if it's getting the Nginx error, and that's what's causing that problem. Okay, so tunnel deployment. Yep. So we should still have the page. Nope. Redirect URI. That's all correct. But what are you doing? The application initiates the login process. It navigates to. Oh, that's not meant to go there. Why isn't that going to? That's meant to go to that. Oh, no, that's fine. There you go. That's meant to go there. That's why. And that's not going there. So that's missing something in the configuration, isn't it? Production, development, domain. It's meant to go to domain. Your progress. We got one bit forward. It's meant to go to lucasKUSall0.com. This is what it's meant to go to. Unless, because I've said it's production, it's changed the behavior. App config, domain, auth module. Not picking up the right thing. That's working when it's dev. I'm deliberately using the same setup so that I don't have to recreate everything. And there's nothing at risk other than it's just going to deploy the. But if I do that, I don't think that creates the. No, that doesn't create a network call, does it? Makes sense it can't get to authorize, but why is it not? This isn't going to give me anything because it's just not. Pop up closed. Yeah, that's fine. It's not putting the domain in front of the request for the login page, and I'm not sure why. So it's bugging me. It should be putting this at the beginning. API, this is right. The API URL is fine. This works. That is totally unnecessary because it's not going to Liquid Sky, so that's fine. Doesn't hurt anything to leave that in place. Nope, it's not the API URL. That's fine. It's not trying to even. It's not even trying to use that. This is working because I've actually managed to register a user, right? So the API URL is working fine. Domain is environment.domain. Client ID is, so the domain should be this. There's no permissions or anything like that I need to set. Settings. Grant types, federation, certificates, endpoints. Yeah, Liquid Sky, OAuth authorization URL. Liquid Sky US allzero.com. Yeah. Well, let's 100% check that one. Liquid Sky NG. Don't need anything running to do this. That's local. What is different? What is different? This is taking because this was working, right? So if I go through and do Alan Jones. Good Sky, Alan Jones Software Inc. 4811 Main Boulevard Street, Hoboken, New Jersey, 09983 States. So, just for reference, the reason I know it's working there you go. That's going to Liquid Sky software. That comes from that configuration. Ouch. And there you go. Registration complete. Please verify the email to user to register. So when we complete, there you go. So we should have now 2 tenant users. So we have a user, tenant users, we have messages, we have outbox messages, everything sent to Kafka as well. Nice. So we have it working. And that configuration comes from that file. That's the only place that pulls API URL from. But this one refuses to do the redirect. So it has to be something about the source URL. But I've got all the right pieces in there. So I've got allowed origin, allowed web origins, allowed logout URLs, allowed callback URLs. APIs, there's no auth there. Authentication, database, there's no configuration here. Shranhorn, how you doing? Oh, hold on. Is this actually doing any logs? Nope. Successful sign up. Dang it. Hold on. Nope. That does not create an error. Yep, no, it's. I'm good. I'm good. You have a good Thanksgiving? Or do you get hit with 18,000 feet of snow? So I saw that certain areas were, and you are in one of those certain areas, I believe. Good food and nice break. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, good. I know you're not in Buffalo, but I was reading yesterday that the Bills asked their fans to help clear the snow off the field because there was 3 feet of snow dumped on them. It said that, a big snow wave had come across the country, so yeah. I was lucky just dusting. I would just go home. Yeah. So what I'm trying to figure out right this second. So, by the way, we have things up and running. Kafka is being communicated with. I can communicate with the pieces. The tunnel's working okay. I have some problems with stateful sets still, but I'll get there eventually. Basically, if I do a Pulumi up too many times, everything just goes weird and I have to restart the machine. But I've got Kafka, so the broker's being communicated with from the client. I've got messages in the database. They're all being processed. So Kafka's receiving the messages. We can go over to here and see. Yep, there's 2 messages. So the tenant users, etc. So things are generally working. What I'm struggling with now is, for some reason, Auth0 does not do the right redirect when I pop up the login page. Works locally. The only thing that's different is the URL. And the fact that it's an HTTPS. Hold on. Log out. So I'm trying to configure this. So what it's doing is it's getting stuck because it's not going into. It doesn't log anything at all. It's not navigating to Liquid Sky Auth0 dev or whatever, which you should be doing. So what am I missing? In some scenarios, Auth0 will need to redirect your application's login page. This URL needs to point to a route in your application that should redirect to your tenant's authorized endpoint. After the user authenticates, we will only call back to any of these URLs. You can specify multiple valid URLs by comma separating them, typically to handle different environments like Kubernetes, and make sure to specify the protocol. Otherwise, the callback may fail in some cases, with the exception of custom UI schemes for native clients. All callbacks should use protocol. Internal service URL. Looks like a configuration. This looks like the internal service URL. No, this isn't Kubernetes related at all. This is all client side now. I did get I did have some struggles earlier on with Kafka. So the broker, this plain text host, has to specify the FQDN because that is advertised. I was having issues with that, but then when I restarted, right, but you configured that URL and the pop-up was not correct. Right, but that's what I'm trying to determine because it's the exact same. The only difference is the API URL, and that's completely unrelated, and the fact that I'm saying production. Because I don't want to configure I don't want to configure a production system yet. I just want to use the exact same settings as dev, so I can move forward. Because I should be able to. Well, it will make a mess doing it this way because I have the same users in the dev instance as I will have in the staging issues. What control pops? That's a Auth0. That's the Auth0 library. So when I hit views, landing component, app login button, handle login with pop-up, That's Auth0's code. So auth service is theirs as well. So this is not configured in any way different. If I run the dev instance, so I'll show you the difference. So when I hit that, what happens is it should authorize and then redirect to a login page if it's not authorized, right? What's happening is it's completely not putting the domain in front of it, suggesting that the auth0 doesn't have that domain, the domain I'm calling it from allowed or something, right? It's got the right redirect URL. Challenge method. So the redirect URL, Liquid Sky software, right? It's got the right redirect. So it's picking up. Well, that's because it comes from there, right? Yeah. So it's doing that now. Right. But if I run the dev instance, yeah, the domain's gone. If I run the dev instance using the exact same configuration, the only difference is production, true, false, right? If I run the dev instance, just for, this is the dev version, right? Localhost 4200, and click that. I get that. And the domain is not gone from this, right? liquidskyus.auth0.com, which is the domain there. So that's what's confusing right now, because the configurations there, the configuration is essentially identical other than the domain that they're calling from. But by Auth0's documentation, that's perfectly permitted. It's just missing this piece. Unless it's some sort of, oh, well, now you're actually in a domain and you're using HTTPS, therefore. So they get set, the Auth0 service gets set by this, right? So I'm just passing the environment values in there. I suppose if it took environment, that would work. But I've also this API URL is being set, suggesting this one is being picked up. So I pull that from environment in the same exact way. I can register a user, right? I can actually register a user in the actual application. So that is telling me that it's picking this up because that URL is only set there. But you are right. It does definitely seem like that, but I don't know how to validate that because I don't know how to get access to the environment. Unless I can log on to the actual machine. No, because that won't tell me anything, will it? The client deployment is all sealed. That configuration is not part of the site. Even if I get on here, there's nothing in here that's going to give me any indication. CD mount. No, there's no way of knowing what that configuration is, I don't think. User share nginx. So user share nginx. See HTML. The site's there, but that's not going to give me anything. Because everything's what's it called? Compressed. All 0. Great. Sorry. Thank you very much. Hello. RWX Rob. Welcome in. No worries. Thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate it. Hope you're well. Take care. Thank you very much for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. So the focused look on my face is due to the fact I'm trying to figure out a deployment challenge. So welcome in. I am building an application for project management and planning using .NET and Angular and a whole lot of other technologies. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been working on the deployment piece using Pulumi to Kubernetes, a locally hosted Kubernetes box. Purely for the learning, or mainly for the learning, but also to be able to get a local version running that I can then use to dog food building the application. So the project management and planning piece, using the application to do the project management and planning piece of the project. So that's what I've been focused on. I share this on stream, knowing that everything won't necessarily go very smoothly, knowing that I don't understand a lot of what I'm doing. But with the hope of showing people, hey, here's my journey, and here are the challenges I'm facing, and it's okay to not understand everything and struggle sometimes, but you will learn. So, and right now I'm struggling. I've got everything deploying, a version deploying that allows me to get to my login page, which is this piece. I have Kafka configured, SQL Server, all the pieces configured for the messaging and communication. What I'm trying to validate is kind of log into the application now and proceed to the next step, which is getting the rest of the application up and running. However, I do have a challenge in that my sign-in is not redirecting properly. So, yeah. The way I run the stream, if you have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, as long as they're productive, and I'm happy to have a conversation. I know I don't know everything. I accept I don't know everything, and I'm trying to learn more and more. Did you know that Arctic terns undertake one of the longest migration journeys of any animal? They travel from their breeding ground in the Arctic to the Antarctic and back each year, covering about 44,000 miles. This round trip can take approximately 11 months to complete. These birds experience 2 summers each year and more daylight than any other creature on the planet. It means they finally reached their destination in case they started when it's up for the first time. Annie, thank you very much for 11 months. I really do appreciate that. Welcome in. Hope you are well today. Hope you had a great weekend. That's cool. That's a nice fact. So, what I'm struggling with is when I open this dialog, it's not redirecting properly, whereas it does on dev. So what I was trying to figure out is, can I get to see the configuration? But that would be part of the problem. Well, that'd be part of that. That would be a problem if I could see the configuration, I suppose. So yes. How's that config injected into the client? Well, it's built as part of it. So when the build happens, I say build it with configuration production, and it pulls that in as part of it. As part of that value. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's all compiled, right? So struggles. So that configuration. Yeah. I don't think there's anything that's going to give me any insights here. No. No. Liquid Sky software, local storage. Nothing particularly challenging there. I just don't understand why it would. So if Auth0 was configured incorrectly, it would say, oh, you don't have the redirect URL set. Yes. What I wanted to do was configure that from the Pulumi side. So I could actually just say, hey, here's your configuration. Then I realized I have to build it. So I had to build a new client for it. Which was easy because then I could just build the client, push it. Once the Docker image updated, just delete the pod and it would recreate. There are ugly workarounds for an Angular. But yeah, so Auth0 does have the concept of setting allowed callback URLs, allowed logout URLs, and allowed web origins, and that's fine. I have them there. Right. The only thing I can think is that coming from a HTTPS is causing me a problem. But I've already got, we've actually had a members, custom domains. I'm not using a custom domain. That's fine. Log in and log out URLs. Don't get it. Anyway, it lists to me that it's not back in the domain when production is true. But why? I mean, we could test false there because it's still, I'm still doing the production build. It should still pull that in, right? Let's have a look. So if we do disable production, actually, if I create staging, do production true there. That's fine for that. That's there. And then here, in a Docker file, do staging, create staging version of build, and update Docker file. Need to give that a few minutes, sadly. Yeah, solution will be using a config Mac and mount the volume into a config file within the image. That's what I considered doing the first time, but I didn't know how to make the put. So I didn't know how to make Angular pull that config file because it's all built in, right? When you do the build, you get the so you can't just put a environment.production.ts in there and have it pick it up. So I figured this was the right way. Oh, so yeah. Hello, Loki. Hello, my friend. You okay, buddy? You okay? No, you're not having a tissue. No, we're not stealing tissues. Hello. Hello. What do you want? Okay, come on. I didn't know. So the Kubernetes creating a config map is an option, but I didn't know how to get it to pick that up. Loki would like to say hi. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy. You okay? Hello, friend. You okay? You cold? You cold? I've got to wait for that Docker image to get up there and build and push now. So that's why I'm kind of not worrying about Loki. Let's go over here. What are you doing, dog? No, can't have that window there. I have to pull that window over there. So once I see that the Docker image is built, I can a bright white screen. LS Liquid Sky. You okay, buddy? You're shaking. What's the matter? Old. I'm waiting for the image to build. So there is a GitHub action that will build the image, run that Docker file, and then push the image over to Docker Hub. Once the Docker Hub's there, I'm set to always pull. So I can just delete the pod and have it recreate the pod. And then we can see if that makes a difference. Builds, repositories, last pushed a month ago. That doesn't seem right because I did this the other day. Liquid Sky, client ng, actions. Did I not push that image? Did I not push this? Hello, buddy. 4 minutes ago. Apparently, I only did it last month, but that's not right. Providing runtime configuration to an Azure application. Okay. Export constant environment. Best solution is to set up runtime configuration in the Angular app so the instrumentation key is set up during application bootstrap to use the same build artifact for any. First of all, you need to create a config file in JSON format under assets folder. App config service. Create new Angular service responsible for loading the configuration and providing it to any component service requiring it. But then I don't have environment. Unless I'm wrong. But then I need an app config service. Okay, so that requires a bit more investment. We're not using SSR right now. Yeah. My larger concern right this second is the fact that the action didn't deploy. Nothing triggered then. So that's more concerning. What did I change? Release. Oh, hold on. How the heck am I on main? Hold on. What? I'm worried. Liquid sky.software. Create production version. So the GitHub workflow is only set to publish the image on release branch right this second. But that branch didn't exist there. But the client was running the API correctly. So I'm a little confused right this second. Yeah, that's creating the actual thing. Loki, as much as I appreciate you, you are not a good keyboard holder. Huh? Am I frustrating you, buddy? I'm pretty sure there'll be a way to get past the password in Windows. It might not be a very legitimate site that you have to go to figure it out, but I'm pretty sure there's some not really good ways of doing it. Problem is if you install a new drive just so you can install Windows and then use the access to the drive, it won't let you access to the drive because it'll all be protected. I believe. Okay, so what I'm waiting for right this second is that workflow run to finish, right? So that workflow run will build the client, and then push the image. So, Kenny, I appreciate that suggestion. I'm going to investigate the suggestion, but my understanding is that will make things a little bit. Gotcha. I do think that'll make things a little bit harder for me in certain aspects because where I use environment would be broken then. Would it? Because I mean, right now I use environment.api URL. I just have to inject config service everywhere where I inject environment right now. There's some benefits to this style, but okay. So my image should be updated. What I'm confused over is it says last month, November 1st is when I last pushed that image. But I've not been testing this for a month with this version. So I don't know how I was working at all with that. So now, because the image is pushed, I should be able to delete the pod. Hey guys. Hey, good luck. You go, boy. Hey, Taylor. So deleting that image should reload the client. Nope, same output. Uh, Liquid Sky. Last pulled 2 minutes ago. Yeah, so that definitely pulled the right image. Ah. I'm not sure here. I'm not sure how to get this configuration up and running. We are so close though. So we got the Kafka network working. We got the tenant management system communicating with Kafka. So now we know that Kafka works. There's still a bit more to do with RabbitMQ. Make sure that's communicating to validate that thing. So tomorrow, what I'll probably focus on, or even later today, is getting the consumers set up. If I can get a consumer connected and listening to Kafka, then that will allow me to set up the other databases, and we can just roll through into setting up the other pieces that way. But then now we've got some of these communication challenges worked out. This should should just kind of move along. Um, Loki, you're not making this easier. All right, bud? You okay? You good boy? Okay. Okay. So let us do this. If you like .NET content, Online streams Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and he's streaming his work, actual work projects right now, which is, you know, it's good to see what people really work on, right? It's fun to say, you know, we created something cool, we made this thing, but sometimes on streams that isn't real software development because it's the fun stuff. He says building an application and building out Kubernetes, but this isn't my real job, right? Yeah, One-Line streams developing his own out is actual work stuff, and it is fascinating to watch. So I'd highly recommend going giving him a follow. But okay, let's go. What are we doing now? We didn't raid Anna last week, I think. I'm gonna raid out. I'm gonna raid Anna. Anna is developing a game engine. She's been working on a lot of custom stuff. It's an actual from the scratch game engine in C#, and it's very worthwhile watching. So I have no headphones in, so I can't hear. So I'm going to raid and run a little bit. I've got to get these two out because they're fussing. And I will be back tomorrow and hopefully get over this hump. So catch you all later. Thank you very much. Take care. Ooh, dog. No, we gotta do this piece.